So welcome back to Learn SKN, and we are going to begin working with the economic syllabus in this video. So this is the syllabus you see right here. We're starting with section 1, of course, the nature of economics. And alongside the syllabus, we are going to also try and use this textbook right here, Economics for CSEC Examinations. I think this is the recommended text in most schools across the region. I could be wrong, but for where I work, this is the recommended text for CSEC Economics. So we are going to try a little different format than with the Principles of Business videos, where we use slides and a number of other sources. This time we're going to try and go through this textbook chapter by chapter, because this textbook was written in a way that goes alongside, complements the syllabus nicely. Okay, everything is not laid out in the same order, but it can be found within the textbook in a nice enough order. For example, section 1 in the syllabus can be basically covered using chapters 1 and 2 from the textbook. So we're going to try and run through the textbook, and that would cover most of the content for the syllabus. Okay, so for now we're going to start with chapter 1 right here in the textbook. So if you have this textbook, you're going to be able to follow it easily. Okay, that's one of the other reasons why I chose to go this route, so that you can, when you're reading the book on your own, you'll be able to see what we're talking about, follow along, and you'll be able to do some self-learning, study on your own, some independent learning. So that's one of the reasons why I chose to go along with this route, using the textbook in collaboration with the syllabus. But for anything that doesn't require, the textbook might have a little confusing, I might go back to some slides and use those slides to explain certain concepts, which I'm going to do for one of the objectives in the syllabus. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so let's first and foremost define economics. What is economics? What exactly is economics? Now, there are some old school definitions for economics, but they are more modern definitions, and the textbook has a more modern definition. Okay, so the textbook, modern economists define economics as the study of how man allocates scarce resources which have alternative uses to achieve given ends or goals. Kind of a mouthful, right? So this is the textbook's definition. We can also use a definition from another website, a simpler one. A social science, okay? A social science that studies the allocation of scarce resources, in here they have limited, but scarce resources, to the production of goods and services used to satisfy consumers' unlimited wants and needs. Okay, so it's a social science for sure, and it studies the allocation of scarce resources to the production of goods and services used to satisfy consumers' unlimited wants and needs. Okay, again here, at social science that studies the allocation of limited or scarce resources used to produce goods and services that satisfy unlimited consumer wants and needs. Now let's break down some of these words here. Scarce. What does the word scarce refer to? We're going to look at it later, but for now, scarce refers to the fact that resources are limited. Okay, they are not unlimited. They are not infinite. We have a limited amount of resources, and so therefore they are scarce. And so economics studies the allocation of scarce resources by mankind to, whether it is to produce goods or services or to consume, whichever one. So those are definitions you can use for economics. So you can stick with the textbook definitions, but one thing I must say, never try to regurgitate, try to remember it the best way you can. Don't try to go word for word. Okay, so so we can say economics is a social science. You don't even have to mention that, because that's kind of a given. So economics is the study of the allocation of scarce resources by mankind, or the study of the allocation of scarce resources by mankind to produce goods and or services. Any definition like that or amalgamation of those should work. Okay, now you also have some of the older definitions from way back when. Adam Smith, one of the fathers of economics, Okay, he had his own definition. Mill had his own. Marshall had his own. Modern economists have come together to find their own definition. So that's a very simple definition for economics right there. What are the branches of economics? So there are two main branches of economics that are outlined here in the syllabus. You have microeconomics and you have macroeconomics. Microeconomics and macroeconomics. As the word micro suggests, we're looking at the lower level, the tiny level. We're looking down, deep, digging, okay? Microscope, you look at the smaller scale things. So it can be defined as the study of how households and firms make decisions and how they interact in the markets. So that's a microeconomics, the study of individual households and individual firms, and how they make decisions, economic decisions, the economic actions they take. So microeconomics, so if you're a microeconomist, if you're studying microeconomics, you are going to be focusing on individual households, individual firms, and how they make the economic decisions, and how they interact in the market for like labor, the factors of production. Alright, so microeconomics deals with individual, whether it be individual household or the individual firms within the economy. Okay, so you're going to look at how your own household makes economic decisions. That's microeconomics. How an individual, how a household make decisions. How a firm make decisions, you know. How Hilo might make their decisions. How General Foods might make their decisions. You know, an individual firm, how they make their economic decisions. Now, macroeconomics, on the other hand, macro meaning on a larger scale, is the study of the economy on a whole. Okay, the study of the entire economy on a whole. So it's a study of the economy-wide phenomena, including inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. So if you are macroeconomics, or if you're studying macroeconomics, you're looking at the economy on a whole, looking at how unemployment is within your country, how inflation or how the prices are rising across the board in your countries. Are things getting more expensive? Are they getting cheaper? How many persons have a job? How many don't? Is the country improving? Has GDP grown? Is the country getting more money every year? So macroeconomics look at the economy on a whole, and a holistic point of view. So we're looking at whether the 1.3 million in Trinidad, how many of that population is working, or how many of the 2 million in Jamaica, how many are unemployed, or how many are employed? What are the prices within the region, the OECS, the Caribbean? What are the prices for certain things? Are gas prices going up? Are food prices going up? So we're looking at the economy on a whole, not just the individuals. It's all the individuals together, so that's on a whole. So that's macroeconomics. So micro, you're looking at the small scale. Macro, you're looking at the economy on a whole. And so those are the two branches of economics that the syllabus speaks to. All right? So now, we're talking about economics and, you know, macro and micro and all those things. But what exactly is an economy? What is an economy? Explain the meaning of an economy. An economy as a mechanism. So, you know, it's a system right there. One time you see mechanism, so it's some kind of system. Organization of resources for production of goods and services and satisfaction of society's needs and wants. So, you know, so the economy is that mechanism or that system that is responsible for organizing resources for production, you know, of goods and services, you know, your food, your financial services, those things, and also to satisfy society's needs and wants. Because at the end of the day, the economy has to serve the people as best as it can. So then, what's a working definition for economy? So here in the textbook, you have a simple enough definition for an economy, okay? Let's read. Economics recognize that resources are scarce. The economy is the mechanism through which these scarce resources are organized for the production of goods and services. Okay, so that's a simple enough definition for an economy. So the economy is a mechanism through which these scarce resources are organized for the production of goods and services. In other words, you can say the economy answers three basic questions. The economy answers three basic questions. It answers what, how, and for whom. What to produce, how to produce it, and for whom they would be the goods and services are produced. So the economy is answers three fundamental questions: the what, how, and for whom. And this is one of the benchmark, one of the backbones of economics as a subject. You always hear about what, how, and for whom. And once you're a student of economics, you know what they're talking about. They're talking about the economy and the three questions that the economy is used to answer: what, how, and for whom. What to produce, how to produce it, and for whom it should be produced. So this website here is a really good aid for those who want to delve deeper into economics, and it outlines things in a clear and concise manner. All right, so we're looking at economy, and we have a simple working definition again. Okay, like I said, it's a system and mechanism. So for this definition, the economy, the system of production, distribution, consumption of goods and services that a society uses to address the problem of scarcity. And remember, we said scarcity refers to the fact that things are limited. We don't have an unlimited source of resources. They are limited. That's why you have scarcity. Okay, so again, like I was saying before, the question of what, how, and for whom, those are the three economic questions that the economy is used to answer. And later on, when we're looking at types of economies, we're going to see how different countries choose to answer those three basic questions. But for now, the economy can be defined as the system of production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services that a society uses to address the problem of scarcity. Or you can stick with the textbook definition, where it is the economy is the mechanism through which these scarce resources are organized for production of goods and services. All of them are the same. So whatever you can digest better, that's the definition you want to stick to. Okay? So let's look at section 3 here. Section 4 in the syllabus. Describe the main economic agents in an economy. The main economic agents in an economy. And so you see that there are three main economic agents in the economy. Of course, you have your household, you have the firm, and you have the government. Those are the three main agents in the economy: your household, the firm, and the government. Let's reference the textbook to see how they broke down each of them. Okay, so you have your household, your firm, the government. Those three are the three agents in the economy. So if you see the textbook asks, describe the main economic agents in an economy. These are the three: the household, the firms, and the government. And when you look at it really and truly, it's either you're working for the public sector, the private sector, or you're working for yourself. Those are the three. It's either the household, you're working for yourself, a firm, the private sector, or the government, that's public sector. So those are the three main economic agents in the economy. And the household is the one that provides labor to all of the others. Okay, so let's look at it. Let's dig deeper into these three. A household is one decision-making unit in economics. Two assumptions are made about households. First, households consume goods and services, which is true. You are the one who buy the things that the firms produce. You buy, the services, you buy the food, you buy the car, you buy whatever. The household is the one that consumes, that buys the things, that uses the things produced by the firm. The second assumption is that households are the owners of the factors of production. Okay, and we're going to look at factors of production later on. So the household for sure owns labor. That's your factor of production, your labor. You can choose to, go work for either government, yourself, or the firm. Next, okay, so the next agent here is the firm. A firm is also a decision-making unit, as we said before. This is the unit that produces goods and services. To produce these goods and services, the firm buys factor services from the household. Okay? So, to produce these goods and services, the firm, whatever firm it is, the firm is the business. So, for example, the firm, Hilo is a firm, General Foods is a firm, Yui is a firm, Wales, any other place that have private institutions, that's a firm. That's a firm right here, business. Okay, so they are the ones who produce the goods and services, whether it is financial services, whether it is a haircut, whether it is a salon, whether it is a bank. they produce, food, they produce, bread, your whatever, the supermarket, those things. So the firm is the one that produces the goods and services that the households use. Okay? And then you have the government. The government provides the framework or rules and laws for households and firms to operate within. In some economies, the government is also involved in production. So the government is the one that holds all of these things together. That's one of the bigger players in the economy, one of the bigger agents. So the government provides the framework of rules and laws for households and firms. You have your tax laws, you have your labor laws, of course you have the criminal laws that guide you against criminality and stuff like that. So the government makes the laws, the taxes, those things, put them in place as a framework to keep the household and the firm operating within the economy. Okay, the government runs the economy basically. Alright, so in some countries the government is the only member of the economy really, because all decisions are made by the government, and we're going to look at that later when looking at types of economic systems. Okay, so these are the three main agents in the economy: the household, the firms, and the government. And we can see how they interact. Okay, there's a diagram in the book called the circular flow that we're going to look at. I'm going to show you, how the economy rotates. Alright, so we have the circular flow diagram. The circular flow diagram is a visual model of the economy that shows how dollars flow through markets and households and firms. There's a simple one and there's a more complex one that we'll look at later on. For the simple one, the circular flow, we're looking at this right here. So we're looking at the firm and the household, and remember we said before that the household buys and consumes the goods and services. They also own and sells the factors of production, whereas the firm, they produce and sell goods and services, and they hire and use factors of production. Okay, so this diagram shows how these two agents, and the government is the one who sets up all of these rules and stuff around it, but they show how these two agents interact within the economy. So if you follow it closely, look at the arrows. Okay, the arrows. So you have the household here. This is one of the agents of the economy, the households. So the households buy and consume goods and services. And this orange line represents goods and services that are sold and bought. Okay, goods and services sold and bought. Okay, also it represents the factors of production that the firm uses. See, the factors of production coming from the house. So factors of production, things like your knowledge, your skills, your labor, those things from the households, because firms don't hire just robots alone. Okay, they don't hire sticks and stones, they hire people, and people are a factor of production. We are part of the labor force. We have the capital and those things. So the household presents itself, I'm here, hire me. So that's your factor of production. Then the firm hires the people, and then the people make the goods and services, and the goods and services are sold on the market and they are bought by the people again. So it's a cycle right there. Alright, the green one represents the flow of the money, okay, the dollars. So the firm gonna pay you your rent, your wages. If they're renting your property, they pay you your rent, they make profits, they pay you. So the firm, the money comes from the firm, whether it is wages, rent, or profit, and then that goes to the household. The household takes that money and they buy stuff that are produced by the firm. So the firm gets back the money in the form of revenue that they pump into the firm again, and the cycle continues again and again and again. So that's how some of these agents interact within the economy, the households and the firm. And of course the government is the one who holds all this together, because the government is the one who places laws about wages, laws about labor, whether you can spend 40 hours a week working or 100 hours a week working. So the laws help to guide some of these things. You have price control mechanisms for goods that you're buying. So the firms cannot gouge out your eyes. The firms cannot charge you too much. So the government holds all this in place. So you have the household, the firms, the government hold all this in place, and you see the exchange of different resources. So those are the agents of the economy. The household, the firm, the government. Alright? So let's see what is the syllabus asking us for. So we look at the household, the firm, the government. Explain the concept of scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost within the economy. Scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost within the economy. So we're going to look at these three concepts. Some of them might be self-explanatory. Scarcity, we're talking about the fact that resources are limited, so therefore, you can run out. That's why things are scarce. They don't go on forever. Okay? So we're going to look at those individually just now. So scarcity. Scarcity, the situation in which unlimited wants exceeds the limited resources available to fulfill those wants. So we all know that as humans, if we were to write down everything that we want, the list would be endless. You just be going on and on and on and on and on. If we were to write down what we want. Needs, that's a different thing. Needs are things that you cannot live without. Your food, shelter, those things. That's needs. So we have some basic needs, and from that we're good. Most of the others are wants. So that's why scarcity arises, because we have limited resources, for example, money, but we have unlimited wants. So our wants exceeds our resources available. Of course, most of us would like to buy some expensive cars, live in a mansion, wear as much clothes as we want, buy whatever we want. But right now, money is a limited resource. But our wants are unlimited, and that's how we get scarcity. The situation in which unlimited wants exceeds the limited resources available to fulfill those wants. Scarcity. Now let's look at the textbook and what they say about scarcity and those things. So this textbook says scarcity is the economic condition where all resources and goods and services, though they may be plentiful, as I said before, we want everything. They might be plentiful, but are not sufficient for those who desire them. Alright? So all our resources, they might be plentiful, but they are not unlimited. So that's how we get scarcity, because we have unlimited wants but limited resources. That's how scarcity arises. Now, because things are scarce, we have to make choices. Okay? That's how choices come into being. Because let's be honest, if we had unlimited resources, there's no choice to make. You take whatever you want. You just take, because our resources are unlimited. So really and truly, there would be an illusion of choice, really. There's no choice if you have unlimited resources. But because our resources are limited, we have to make choices. Okay? Do I pay my bill, or do I go out and lime? Do I buy this cheap shoe, or do I buy a more expensive one? So you have to make choices. Alright, so that's why choices arise. Okay, definition of choice. Choice is the range of options available to individual, households, firms, or government when making decisions. So you have to make your decisions, and you have to base them, and then you have to make your choices. Your decisions can be based on different things, like priority or whatever, but you have a decision-making process. You know what you go through to make your decisions. You weigh your pros and cons and those things, then you make a choice. Okay, so because we have limited resources and unlimited wants, we have to make choices. Okay, so that's why choices comes about. Now, opportunity cost. That's the next definition we are going to go into. What is opportunity cost? In each case above, a choice has to be made. If you read in here, you're going to see the choice, the case studies that they're talking about. So in each case above, a choice has to be made, and some goods or services or venture have to be given up. The householder has to do without something. Okay, so what is opportunity cost exactly? Now, opportunity cost can be defined as the next best alternative foregone. Okay, that might sound like a mouthful, so let's break it down. Your opportunity cost is the next best alternative for what you have given up. So for example, you might want to go to the movies, or you might want to stay home and chill. If you decide to stay home and chill, Netflix and chill, then you would have given up. The cost of that would be going to the movies, enjoying the big screen, buying the popcorn, you hear people laughing in the theater or whatever. That's the cost of staying home and liming and chilling. And next example, opportunity cost. Let's say for example, you are a star athlete, and you, like for example, the NBA players, they go to university. Some can choose to go straight through, get their degree, and then enter the draft, or some can choose to, forget the last 2-3 years and go straight to the draft after the first year. So what are they giving up by going to the draft early? What are they might be giving up the degree or whatever in the short term. What are they gaining? They're gaining more money. So the cost of staying in school longer is your multi-million-dollar contract. That's the cost. So the opportunity cost is the cost of the next best alternative, the next best option. That's opportunity cost, the cost of your next best option. Here's the next definition for opportunity cost. The highest valued alternative that must be given up to engage in an activity. So the highest valued alternative that must be given up to engage in an activity. And we're going to let's look at some examples so that we can, cement opportunity costs in your minds. So here's the next textbook and next definition for opportunity costs. A simpler one too. Whatever must be given up to obtain something else. Whatever must be given up to obtain some item. Let's read this little passage here. The opportunity cost of an item is what you give up to get that item. When making any decision, decision makers should be aware of the opportunity costs that accompany each possible action. So I know you ever heard the saying that there's no such thing as a free lunch? That is true. Nothing is free in life. Nothing is free. You have to give up something to get something. All right? Okay. In fact, they usually are. The example I was given earlier. College athletes who can earn millions if they drop out of school and play professional sports are well aware that the opportunity cost of attending college is very high. It is not surprising that they often decide that the benefit of college education is not worth the cost. So I am a star athlete. I play in basketball. Like I said before. Now, if I decide to, this is my first year in school, played well, expected to draft high, and I decide to play the next 2-3 years in college, that's a high cost because you might get injured the second year. So when time comes for the draft, the money you would have made drop. So you have to weigh these things, the opportunity cost. So as an athlete, the opportunity cost of not entering the draft earlier and playing longer is you might get injured, you might lose the amount of money, you might go lower in the draft, those kind of things. On your days chilling, opportunity cost of, let's say, driving a car versus paying a taxi or a bus or something, one of the costs would be convenience. For example, if you go in Jamaica, you're catching a taxi, a street taxi, sometimes it's so crowded. Okay, that's opportunity cost right there. You get your own car, then you don't have to suffer all of that. Convenience, go where you want, stop where you want. Okay, so it happens on a daily occurrence. Opportunity cost, like I said, it is simple. It's what you give up to get something else. Whatever must be given up to obtain a certain thing. That's the opportunity cost. It's the cost of whatever you gave up to get something else. All right, so I think we pretty much exhaust opportunity cost, so we can move on to the next part of the syllabus that's asking about efficiency and inefficiency. Okay, so we would have covered scarcity. That's where, because we have limited resources and unlimited wants, so things don't go on forever. Choices, because of scarcity, we have to choose wisely. And opportunity cost is the cost of giving up something for something else. Now, efficiency and inefficiency. Let's look at those two again right now. All right, for the most part, efficiency. We're going to look at efficiency later on when we're looking at production, but for now, just a working definition. Efficiency, getting the most out of scarce resources. So of course, inefficiency would be the opposite of that. You are wasting your resources. You're not getting enough out of those resources. Okay, so efficiency is getting the most out of your scarce resources. So let's look at the last part for this video. We're going to look at Objective 5, Section B. Distinguish between free goods and economic goods. Alright, so simply put, free goods are those goods that are available in nature. Okay, those are literally free. Air, sunlight, those kind of things. Those are what we call free goods. Goods that don't require, resources to be made. So free goods are goods that are free by nature. God gave them to us. Sunlight, the air, those things, you cannot really charge for them. They are free. Whereas economic goods are goods that are scarce, and they are goods that require some form of transformation. Most of the goods that we use today, that we buy, they have a cost. They have a literal cost, whether it be opportunity cost, cash cost, whatever. They have a cost. So economic goods are basically the things that we buy that are not man-made, that are not natural. So you go down the shop, you buy clothes, that's an economic good. You buy food, economic good. You buy a car, economic good. Okay, so that's a simple difference between free goods and economic goods. Free goods, as I said, they are free, nature, they are abundant. Economic goods, they are scarce, they have a cost, whether it be opportunity cost or cash cost. So there's actual cost to them. So that's the basic difference between free goods and economic goods. Alright, so we're going to stay here for now. A nice introduction to CSEC economics. And the next video we're going to pick up on would be section 1 still, but we're looking at objective 6, the production possibility curve, or the production possibility frontier, or the PPF. And this is one of the biggest concepts in this section. It's one of the biggest concepts you learn in early economics. Alright, so like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know that our next video has dropped.